Underdog Daily with the Badge Bros. Just John today. Nez is back tomorrow for Off and On the Clock. Wearing my Leone shirt in solidarity with Leone wearing his Leone shirt on Best Ball Breakfast. There, caught the tail end of that. Great stuff. Happy to be back in the saddle. Little weekend away there. Hopefully, you guys caught up on some of those streams. We had a members only baseball one that I think aged beautifully on Friday morning there. And then the Solver Series. Solver Series over the weekend, did a little exercise with past draft boards, did a little walk through my portfolio with some of the exposures that are aging, somewhat decently. Time will tell. Time will tell. There's no victory laps in the middle of August, but some of the stuff is shaping up nicely for me right now. And Bad Pros Brawl, 98%. Just wanted to start the show with that. Last call to get in there. Shout out to Underdog, man. Shout out to the draft team. Shout out to everyone who confided in us, trusted in us, that we could fill a $500,000 prize pool, and we're going to fill it 3 weeks short of the season here. Mad respect to you guys, the community that showed out in the big way for us to make this contest real, to hashtag make it like 5 times bigger than last year. Very cool, very well received. Nez posted his exposures today for his 150 done. I have done 92 of them, I think. Hopefully get to that century mark by maybe the end of the show. Maybe the end of the show. We'll just rip a bunch of those. But as I'm tracking right now, it looks like 98 point something %. So I should be able to get my 100 in, unless you guys go crazy with it over the next little bit here. Let me just take a little peek-sees at it. Looks like 98.3%. I am at 90 drafts right now. So gonna try and get at least 10 more in there with the remainder of this afternoon. Just so proud. Love how this is filled, and shout out to everyone in the community for making it happen. See a bunch of GMs in the chat. Everybody sweating Dinger playoffs right now. Do a little walkthrough there. Shout out to Aiden, who's got the sweating Dingers up to speed there with all the scores from last week. Very interesting exercise to look at there. Kind of similar to a little bit of my soliloquy, my monologue on on the Solver Series over the weekend there, that, I'm not preaching flat exposures across the board, but man, great risk, high reward, yada, yada. Stuff's not aging so great for some of these exploitative stances that were taken, because, it's beautiful to have them for a 14-week window, or in the Dinger's case, like 26 or 28, whatever it is, week window. And then when it all boils down to a 1 week or 2 week sprint, week over week, or in football case, 1 week sprint, week over week, some of those exposures can age so poorly when we are hyper exploitative with them. So yeah, take a little look at that. I actually haven't looked at my advancing stuff yet, because I wanted to give it another week, or at least for this week to close, scores to lock, and then go from there. 10-game MLB slate today. I've drafted 2 of them thus far. Very, very good pitching slate. Only one isolated hitting environment that's standing out to me in a big way. We'll talk through it all in half a second here. But not a ton of winners to go over from the weekend, because I was smelling the roses. As I alluded to, was anniversary weekend part 2 there. We were up in Whistler, played a couple rounds of golf, which was awesome. A couple nice dinners, that sort of deal. Great stuff. But Friday was the last contest, which I was in, which was the show in which we did there. And shout out to Cam Hurst, who tied for first the night before, I believe, in that short slate, 2-game slate. There he is, tied for first there with that 120, and then comes back out the next night and gets it done for a solo ship for the 3K variety. That little Minnesota stack that was really low owned that we talked a lot about on Friday. And then Trey Turner being a scroll the F down to just pair with Kyle Schwarber was the player you needed on the night. Not a player that I ended up getting to myself. So shout out to Cam for getting there. Pitcher didn't end up mattering in any capacity. Only needed that 11 points from Joe Ryan. I think he was like the fourth or fifth highest scoring pitcher because Woodruff had the 18 and Sanchez had the 16. So pitcher didn't wind up mattering for Cam there, but wanted to shout out that lineup because I saw that it was a back-to-back nighter there as well, and and I didn't have the other ones to share from the weekend. So hopefully you guys found some success in the MLB streets while I was gone there. First things first, let's talk about sweating dingers. Let's talk about the Dinger playoffs right now. I'm just going to pull this up real quick because there's a couple macro points I wanted to make. And I do think they're good learning curves for moving into football season here. First things first, obviously, shout out to Aiden for this website, Sweating Dingers. I'm going to copy paste it, put it in the chat there. Tistone, I always call it Tristan Wings, but it's like Tistonian Wings on Twitter. There, it's like a merge of all his favorite Detroit-based like basketball team, football team, college team, hockey team, blah blah blah. But give him a like, follow, and check out the website there. But this is the player ownership. So 18,600 teams, and I just want to like shed light on how effing low these exposure thresholds are. 9.5% of the remaining contest has Shohei Ohtani, the highest scoring player this week. Like, we talk a lot about ownership in BBM. We talk a lot about ownership in terms of these games, but we don't really quantify it well because there isn't any like live tracking data unless you do it yourself. Or you can do it as a revisionist history exercise when the data dump comes in the summer and then we go back and we look at it, that sort of thing. But like, man, I'm just looking at these thresholds and how effing low they are, man. Like Shea Langeliers, who is the sixth highest position player, seventh highest scoring position player this week, is 4.4% owned. You know, a 2-start Tyler Glasnow coming back from the IL, who is the fourth highest scoring pitcher, who's drafted in every single draft at like SP, whatever it was, 18, 19, something like that, over the course of Dinger season, is 5% owned. Like the leverage that we create with like even like a Miguel Garcia, who's had a really nice year, 0.2% owned as like a scroll the F down. Like these ownership thresholds, and maybe it's just like we lose sight of the fact that these players can only be owned like a 1 in 12 frequency to start with. It isn't like DFS exposures where someone can have 100% of someone in their portfolio because they just literally lock button them in. Like that doesn't exist on our site. I don't know, man. I just found it shocking that like who were some of the highest advance rate ones? Like let's look at Cal Raleigh, for instance. Let's see where Cal Raleigh is at. Cal Raleigh, like basically the number one advance rate player. I believe he was number one when we looked last week. He's still only 20% owned in the contest. 20% owned. 1 in 5 lineups have Cal Raleigh, and he was the basically have to have it advanced piece in the regular season. So long-winded way of just like, let's use this as like a learning curve exercise now that we have this data in real time that like, man, our gal brain ideas about leveraging exposure in the middle of the summer for BBM, they probably don't fucking matter at all. They do not fucking matter at all because the ownership thresholds, once you get there, are so effing low. Like the bar to clear is so low. Like Jerkson Profar, for instance, like he's up here, second highest scoring player on all of the week, right? He was basically a 0 after the suspension and was like one of the worst picks on the board for a large portion of the summer. We knew he was going to miss 80 games. Now he comes out and low-key breaks the slate in the first week here. He's 4.7% owned. Like that's the same as Shea Langeliers, who was like a really good back-end draft piece, although he was hurt for a bit there. Let's find like a better example. Profar, who is a bad regular season piece compared to, Miguel Garcia would have been a really good regular season piece who was a scroll the F down. Who else would be like someone in that range? Joe Adell, who was like 100 picks later than Profar, was like a considerably better pick. And he's only 4% more owned than Jurickson Profar. I don't know. Just thinking out loud here, wanted to start the show with it. I think there's a lot to do a deep dive on here. Maybe I'm not even articulating my own thoughts the best of my own ability, maybe because it was kind of like a half-baked, like, let's start the show with this and have a take on it. But like, man, some of this is just, it's very shocking. It's very shocking. Yeah, as I gave praises last week to Andrew Football for his exploitative stance in Dinger season, I also just want to bring it to everyone's attention. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong one here. I want to bring it to everyone's attention is with the exploitative stance comes great risk for isolated weeks. So it's a lot easier to have an exploitative stance on one isolated slate. So like a one game slate to like pick your play and hammer that play. It is a lot easier to have a one player isolated stance and have it matter over the course of the entirety of the season than it is for one isolated week of the season. Right? So I just wanted to like show this that like the highest advancing, like the best advance rate, let's call it right now, 24, half of these lineups out of the 48 from Book It Boy. Okay. Shout out to Wonky Blues, is always watching, hanging out here as well. Baby Stevie as well, a dog ball participant. There's lots of good names on this list, but let's just use like the top isolated example. He advanced 48 teams. Unbelievable. Well done. That's great. Like basically a third of his portfolio gets through, right? And now he's advancing half of them in the first. Now, I haven't looked at this. I imagine it's because he has a densely exploitative ownership amongst the teams in which he advanced. It's kind of just counterintuitive. It's probably going to revolve around Profar. Who else was up there? Profar, Glasnow. Who else did I say? Otani, he can't be over the field on. Anyways, let's just take a look. There you go. Glasnow, Caminero, Joe Ryan. There's another one. 2-start Joe Ryan last week, who was like really important. So the exploitative stances giveth and taketh is kind of like what I'm alluding to, because now we look at the player who advanced the most teams in all of Dinger. Andrew Football is advancing 0. He is the man who advanced the most teams in all of the Dinger contest, and he's advancing 0 right now. He had 104 shots on goal, 0, because he's hyper exploitative, right? So this is not like a monologue about like, hey, you got to be in like an 8.3% exposure, bro. It's more like you just have to understand what you're getting into from a risk tolerance exercise when you're doing this. And when people start like, dunking on the X machine or in the Discord, like, hey man, take a stand. You don't know ball. You're not taking a stand. Tell them to shove it up their fucking ass. Honestly, like that's not how you definitively win around here. You have to hit a 15-leg parlay for a 70% owned Kyle Schwarber to be the guy you need in the regular season, the guy you need in week 1, the guy you need in week 2, the guy you need in week 3. Like think about the flipping a coin over and over and over and over again. Shots on goal. He basically took the entirety of his portfolio. Awesome stand, great call in the preseason, unbelievable execution, and then he pigeonholed it into a one isolated week stance. Right? Anyways, so I just think like we just have to zoom out and think about these games completely differently, because the way in which he played was probably amazing for a marathon style contest. It was probably amazing. And I don't want to be results oriented here, but we can go into other results like this. We can use a football specific one. Our guy Easy, always in the Discord, easydfs.xyz. he had a monster stance on the year Derrick Henry popped off last year or the year before, when nobody wanted to draft Derrick Henry in like the third round, right? And he took all of the Derrick Henry. He had 40% Derrick Henry. I think he advanced like 50 something teams in BBM, and he didn't get a single one to the semifinals. Not one, right? Because the lens of these games is completely different on a site to site basis. It's completely different when you go with the week by week scoring, right? So is there inherent randomness in it? Of course there is. But that's what's awesome about these games, right? So, anyways, just wanted to like tell it like it is, to share the thoughts, to get with it. Like, because there's so much noise in this industry. There's so much crossover between best ball and season long football and DFS crowd. And there's so much blended whatever. Right here, right now, we talk about Underdog, only Underdog, and how to play these contests associated with Underdog. And we have to think through the paradigm of multi-layer bets to then advancing like one fraction of the problem to solve for, right? And sure, that advancing window is representative of like 75% of the total games in a real season played. So 14 weeks in football, whatever we're at in baseball, 100 and whatever games is representative of that like first window there. That next bit is the money making. It is the week 17 is all that matters, kind of like mindset of it, right? But this isn't also, this is going to go another way, because it's not also a resounding endorsement to only play for week 17 either, right? Because 15, 16, 17 are what need to get you there, right? So it's leveraging like little isolated pieces of the portfolio. So if we could go back in time and we could build out like, what our profile should look like for this year in Dinger season, well, we would probably highlight the fact that Toronto is at Colorado in week 1 of the playoffs. We probably need exposure to that to get teams to advance, because Toronto outscored. We could go back and look and we can do the exercise here, but I'd venture to guess that Toronto in like a 3-game window outscored 15, 16 teams in week 1 who played 7 games or 6 games, right? And that was just in the 3 games, not including, that's just the Colorado series. So anyways, just thinking out loud here, gal braining what's going on, and just taking a look at how people are doing and whatever. And this isn't, again, Andrew played amazing for the regular season. Nothing but love for Andrew football for what he's done. This could also have aged 104 out of 104 if Kyle Schwarber had the same week that Jerkson Profar had, right? So this is not a results-oriented exercise. It's just to showcase the volatility in the portfolio with real-time data and real-time ownership thresholds. Because if we go back to the leaderboard here, I wanted to go to Dinger ownership. And we just take a look at Kyle Schwarber. He's the second highest owned player in the tournament right now. It's still only 15.6%. Only, right? And if this 68 was, even 76 to match the field with Cal Raleigh, but if it was like 108 or whatever, and he's the highest, now all of a sudden he's advancing 30 of those 104 teams or whatever, right? Anyways, it's just an exercise in consolidating ownership. Yeah. And yes, teams don't advance till next week. Exactly. This is only like one fraction of the puzzle right now. But scores are locked from week 1, right? So now score was from week one are locked in stone, and now we're adding the scores of week 2 associated with it in the scoring system. Right. Yeah. Anyways, kind of just what I wanted to kick things off with. There you go. There's a lot of good stuff in the chat, guys. I will go back and read the chat because this is obviously a very interesting topic. It's a very deep topic. It's got a lot of layers to it, and I didn't hash out like all my notes beforehand. and there's a lot of really sharp players in the chat right now having genuine discourse about it. So I'm really, really interested in your guys's takes and that sort of thing. Because just because I'm the guy with the microphone, this is a two-way street, right? It's a two-way street. I learn as much, if not more, from you guys than you guys do from me. So just wanted to start the show there, talk about kind of the macro. Guys, go in there, check out the Sweating Dingers, mix and match your teams. I guess we could take a look. Sorry, we could just take a look at the leaderboard, and then we could take a look at how I'm doing. Obviously, not advanced yet, but what do we got here? We're advancing 4 teams of our 22 right now. So, yeah. And then we got some other ones that are just, 14 points behind, 41. So we got some stuff. We got some moving pieces with kind of like our top 10 rosters. And then we just got a whole bunch of dead ones, I think. Not bad. We'll check back in next week and mess around with it. Let's talk a little baseball. I think we're going to be good on Badge Bros Brawl staying open till the end of the baseball segment, but I will give it a quick refresh here just to make sure, just because I do want to make sure I get a couple more Badge Bros Brawls in there. I was ripping a few this weekend to make sure I was getting that volume up. Let's see what we're at. 98.4%. So keep filling the contest, but not that fast, okay? Also, over the weekend there, guys, some more community contests. MMG and Fantasy Flock contest number, I don't know what they're on now, 6 or 7 or 5 now. And then Puppy 3 dropped over the weekend as well. So lots of fun stuff there. And then there was the higher price point contest that dropped over the weekend, the 250. Where'd it go? Let me just click on NFL only just to show you guys. I'm sure you guys have already seen it. Am I tripping? Is it gone already? No way. You guys filled the 250 already? Wow. Okay. No Bo Sox is filled already. All right. Never mind. Husky 2's the last one live. All right, cool. And weekly winners filled over the weekend there too. So time to start mixing in those eliminators, the marathons, the sprints, etc. Yeah, go time. All right, let's talk about the macro for baseball. 10-game slate, 11 games on the day, 10-game slate because this Phils and Reds one starts a little bit early. That does look like the best homer park on the day, according to Ballpark Pal and some of the weather metrics that are out there. If you are going to go shopping in the Pick'em lobbies, it's 90 degrees at Great American Small Park. But remember, we've talked about how it is actually played down for power considerably compared to years past. Nothing crazy with weather today outside of that what I said at the top there, that Sutter Health is looking every bit of Sutter Health. And we have the 2 small park teams playing against each other in the minor league park. The Rays have really been scuffling since they suffered those injuries. I guess it's been, 3 weeks now since like the trade deadline and that sort of thing. They've been scuffling a bit, but it looks like a decent get right spot here against the Athletics in the small ballpark. There's some wind blowing out at San Francisco, but almost always is the case there, and the ballpark mitigates that. As we know, the potential scattered showers, yellow stuff for Roth is the White Sox game here. So Detroit at the White Sox there at US Cellular, or just Cellular now, or whatever they're going by these days. And then Kansas City, Kauffman, there is a little bit of scattered showers. It does look like both of these should be fine. But, famous last words when dealing with projecting weather with raw stuff. But it feels like summer. If you had to pinpoint the one that would be like the worst of the bunch, I think it would be the Chicago's White Sox game there. But I also think it is one that you want to just get to in general. Yeah. We can take a look at the Ballpark Pal here just to look at some of their hitting conditions. Yankee Stadium is the best on the slate for home runs. That US Cellular, aka Guaranteed Rate, aka Rate Field, is second. So that's why we got to be paying attention to it there. We could look at Roth's notes, but it's 84 degrees there with a little bit of wind, not straight out with the wind, but looks like a good place to hit. Sutter Health, as I said already. And then you guys saw Brewers on the cover there. Andrew Heaney has just been abysmal, and the wheels have completely fallen off. And Milwaukee is low key one of the hottest teams in all of baseball again there, alongside the Mariners and some others. Yeah, and Isaac Collins on the cover there. Just a lefty killer. So I definitely want to get right-handed power from Milwaukee today, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Just going game by game on the unabated interface here. The unabated lines, an 8.5, a 9, a 9, an 8.5, a 7.5, 7.5, 8.5, 7, and then this 10. So as I alluded to multiple times now, the Sutter Health with the wind blowing out being, 90? Let's see what it is. It's 89 degrees at first pitch, 97, 94 leading up to first pitch. That one is really jumping off the page as kind of like a quote unquote spot to get to. I know people have Ryan Pepio bags in the dinger here. Methinks they might not be aging that well this evening. In his 2-start week. But yes, that's kind of like the macro. 10 games, lot to choose from. One hitting environment that is a little bit underpriced by my estimation right now. Maybe it is the Pepio factor and whatnot there. I think my mind, when I instantly started looking at the slate, my mind low-key went to Twins. That's a little scary of a thought there. We'll see what we end up with from a lineup standpoint. Wallner is on paternity leave, may or may not be back, but Byron Buxton's going to get activated from the IL and has a Q tag today, and he's like 30 whatever in ADP. So seems like a good one to get to. My initial stuff was the White Sox and Tigers are going to be low-key underrepresented. The Twins are going to be underrepresented. The Brewers auxiliary bats outside of Willem Contreras are going to be underrepresented. And I think this Sutter Health is going to be like the ADP risers for the day there. That was my macro. Oh, there we go. This Twins lineup just dropped. Okay, perfect. Jeff, what unabated subscription? I have the full-fledged. So they have a full-fledged, betting one with the prop-based stuff that includes everything. The 15, I think the sale price right now was the $15.88 for the year. But you can do, just WNBA. You can do just NBA. You can do, Cardi's projections and then just import them. So there's a lot of cool things you can do. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Let's move on here to the implied run totals, game by game, courtesy of the simulations at the ballpark pal here. Yankees with that 5-4 stands out. Brewers with that 5-2. Royals found this one kind of surprising. I guess they're forecasting Bobby Witt is going to be in there. Bobby Witt was a late scratch yesterday, back spasms. I have no insider information on it. I think he's fine to draft. I don't really want any part of the Royals if Bobby Witt's not in there. I mean, the Royals lineup yesterday, we can go back and look, but I looked at it this morning. Yeah, no thank you. Like Adam Frazier hitting 5th. Okay, let me not just try and remember. Let me just grab it for a second. They scored 3 runs yesterday against the Twins. Yastrzemski, Garcia, Vinny P, Sal Perez, Frazier, India, Rave, Malley, Isbell. I mean, that leaves a lot to be desired, especially in a ballpark where there's not a whole bunch of home runs available, right? Nationals are kind of a little bit overlooked right now outside of James Woods' ADP. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. James Wood has been bad outside of this weekend. He's been bad for a month, and then he had a resurgent weekend. So if we're buying back into the resurgence and talent level of James Wood, by all means, he kind of came back to life this weekend. He homered once. He had a handful of doubles. I think he had 220 fantasy point games. So yeah. Chase Dollander is back up with the big club for Colorado. We like him pitching on the road. I don't think you have to go there today on a 10-game slate with such strong pitching, but I will just say I'm intrigued. I'm looking, I'm watching, I'm paying attention, see what the newfound strikeout rate looks like so that maybe we can play him in the future when he's not at Coors Field. So just keeping an eye on that one this evening. As I alluded to, Brewers righties, Durbin's probably going to lead off and nobody drafts him. So why not? That's kind of been the new look lineup versus lefties. Cards, just kind of like evergreen disinterest in the Cards, but the lineup is a little bit stronger if memory serves from this weekend with like Newt Bar and such. Let's see. Yesterday's game with the Cards was the late game there. They beat the Cubs. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a little bit of power in it, and power, especially left-handed power, is playing a little bit better in Busch, but it's still not a great place to hit home runs. I might just gnaw wave this 5-2-1 implied run total and just go elsewhere. Yeah. This one caught me off guard. The Padres with a 4.96. That one I was not expecting after, Logan Webb has just been Dyson dudes. Logan Webb has had back-to-back 10K starts. He's only given up an earned run in each of them. Granted, they were against the Pirates. Both starts were against the Pirates. But, I don't know. He's firmly SP5 right now. I don't know. That one caught me off guard, man. Just seeing that high a run total in such a bad ballpark for hitting and run scoring against Logan Webb. And, if you believe that run total, we can just go back to the platform here and you guys can see Padres. Tatis is 28, Machado's 35. Like they're all free. So if you believe that run total in that ballpark against a stud pitcher like Logan Webb, who's so good at keeping the ball on the ground, I don't know. You should probably just play the shit out of the Padres today. I don't believe it, though. I don't believe it. I would rather play Logan Webb than the Padres today, though they do represent good contrarian leverage there. That one just caught me off guard in a decent way. Christian Javier is coming back in that Astros game here. Astros have the lowest team total on the slate because they're going up against SP1, Garrett Crochet, who's been, historically good this year. He has been phenomenal. I'm just going to keep chasing that dragon over and over again. But I will say, Astros lineup looks considerably better than it has been. Jeremy Pena back leading off, Jesus Sanchez hitting second. Carlos Correa has been added there and has been good since being added back. So this lineup is a lot better than it has been in recent months there. Just want to say that. I'm still not going to play Astros today, but you could probably get a cheeky right-handed home run versus a lefty from like Jose Altuve, Walker, or Correa, maybe on your Diaz. You could chase a cheeky home run in a plus matchup or in a minus matchup, plus matchup for Crochet. Who else am I looking at? The Battle of LA. Jose Soriano has been pretty nice with it in recent memory, but we have no idea which version of Soriano is going to show up on a given day, right? We've talked about this so many times. He's just always SP like 20 something, and he is extremely volatile. Look at his last 5 starts out there. I'll give that a zoom for you guys. He gets 15 fantasy points, 12, 16. He keeps the ball on the ground. He gets the strikeouts, or he gets shelled by Arizona or shelled by the Rays, right? So yeah. Correa. Oh, here's a narrative street. Correa's first game back in Houston. Also, Alex Bregman's first game back in Houston this evening. Crazy, right? Little video montage. Get them both back in there. Kind of cool. Tate saying Barry Bonds Vaughn, ADP of 33.8. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. That Andrew Vaughn ADP, he's been so good. I love that versus lefty. Good shout there. Yes, I too pitch was shocked by the implied total versus Webb in a pitcher friendly park. That one caught me off guard there. Dad Mavis saying Trevor Larnach home run is 4x in the pick'em lobby. That could be fun to mess around with. That could be a fun one to mess around with. What you guys said that lineup was out already? We could take a look at the lineups in a half second there and see what we're working with. But yeah, good shout there. I like that. Let me take a look here just 1 second. The top thing on my screen right now is that Davis and Pete are going to switch bodies tomorrow for the randomizer. That's a pretty fun, or on Wednesday, I guess. That's a pretty funny bit there. Yeah, Kershaw's hitting 4th. Larnach is hitting 5th. Okay. Royce Lewis likes to hit in that stadium. Buxton, nice. Okay, cool. James with another shout from that Milwaukee game that Joey Ortiz is a 3-7 with a great BVP history. Love it. Love it. Good shouts. Good shouts. Okay. Give me half a second. Sorry, I got derailed there looking for lineups. Lineups. Cardinals lineup is out. So yes, as I was alluding to, Nootbaar leading off. So that looks a little bit better there. Nice to see Ezekiel Tovar in the 2-hole for the Rockies, but probably not worth playing Rockies today just in general, though Miles Michaelis lets the ball in play ad nauseum. So why not? Okay. Only 3 lineups for our slate thus far. The big takeaways being Clemens in the 2-hole, Buxton being back, no Wallner in that lineup, Lars Nootbaar back leading off. So if you want to do a little like lefty 2-man from the top of the cards order, I will allow it. Or to do like a Nolan Gorman, scroll the F down to chase some power there. Yeah, not bad. And then Rockies are a little bit of a cross out for me. Yeah. Rangers and D-backs, I don't think I had any notes, just other than I just don't play. I literally just don't play the Rangers anymore. I find it so hard to play them at home. You can always play Seager. You can always play, a 2-man stack if you want to. But I have a very hard time playing the Rangers. Nathan Eovaldi, he's SP3 on the slate from that game. I just won't touch the Diamondbacks today. Eovaldi has been, we've talked about it. If he had a big enough sample size, he should probably be 2nd or 3rd in the AL Cy Young voting this year. He has had a little less so in terms of sample due to the late start and a slow ramp up in the big leagues. I think his first couple starts were like 65, 70 pitch starts. But ever since he's been fully ramped up, I mean, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. And there was a really good Eno Saris tweet this morning or yesterday that he's doing it by not way of the fastball. That was a terrible sentence, but he used to do it as a fastball dominant guy with like big velo. And now he's like one of the biggest pitch mix guys in all of baseball. He's doing like 5 pitch mixes. So professional ass right-handed pitcher, looks sustainable. I'm sure the home park helps a bit. Angels, I mean, you can play Angels today if you want. If you want the double bubble leverage off of Yamamoto is like number 2 or 3 in terms of SP rankings there. If you just want to chase the power of the Angels and just know that they have abundance of it, and when things go right for the Angels, it goes really right for the Angels. Joe Adele had a really nice stretch there. Luis Rengifo has had a really nice stretch as well. If you just want to chase a couple dingers, from like a 2-man or a 3-man from the Angels. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we get to the bottom there. Favorite spot on the slate. I'm surprised it's not popping even more than this. It actually is interesting to note that the run total is lower in the S words than is the run total of the Yankees here. We can juxtapose that to Cardi's stuff in a half second, but like a 5.37 for the Athletics. I mean, I'm buying it. I'm buying it. That lineup came to life over the last week and a half there. Shea Langlier's second highest scorer in all of the Dinger there. He's been leading off recently too. I imagine it's going to be Lawrence Butler leading off today against a lefty. Though that being said, Lawrence Butler's been fucking bad. Lawrence Butler's been low key atrocious to end the end of this year or end of regular season leading up to playoffs of the Dinger there. If you want to chase it and just try and get right by it, sure. But if we're factoring in like recency bias and we want to build out some of these stacks, like here, let's just go back to the site for a second. Check out the Athletics. I mean, Nick Paz, he's probably the best of the bunch with the handedness advantage to get to Brent Rooker, both in the 20s, and then you can have anybody else for free. I would rather play JJ Bleday than Lawrence Butler right now, just the way that the two of them look at the plate. But yeah, I think playing some of these lefties and mixing and matching the power bats feels really strong. A little bit of a Ryan Pepio respector, but with the wind blowing out and 90 degrees in the smallest park on the slate, and you're going to give me ADPs north of 30, I'm going to play the shit out of them. So it really jumps off the page to get to scroll the F down, Rays, and scroll the F down, Athletics. Rays are a little bit watered down in terms of their lineup. Yeah, I mean, they just have guys on the IL, and you're missing Aranda, and you're missing who's the shit. I'm blanking on someone right now. But yeah, you might get Simpson, lefty. Don't really love that. It's probably mainly Yandy Diaz, Junior Caminero, and Christopher Morel for me. But you can mix in a Josh Lowe or some Ha-Seong Kim as well. Amac saying double dong from Morel tonight. Love to see it. I think the Dinger bags would really, really like that, to be honest. Yeah, did I miss anything? I think that was kind of like the long and the short of my macro points to be made. Yeah, Nationals and Tigers relative to their run totals are a little bit underrepresented. We talked about James Wood, but we didn't talk about the rest of that stack. A good place for scoring runs in KC, not a great place for home runs. So probably a spot that I would be doing like, 3s and 4-mans opposed to just doing 1-offs and 2-mans there. Kate Cavalli, longtime prospect or former prospect, had a really nice first start out. We kind of waved him on a short slate because we didn't think he could go deep enough to matter. And then he ended up scoring 10 fantasy points. Obviously only went 4 and 1/3, but 6 Ks. We know the Athletics can strike out in a big way, but that was right amongst the time in which they were scorching hot. So for him to put up a performance like that, he was like a big time prospect, like back. Who was his teammate? Oh, I was watching the broadcast and now I can't remember. They were teammates coming up and teammates in like college and the minors and stuff together. And fuck, my bad. Butchered the point. Anyways, not playable on our site, but I just think like stacking against him isn't like a slam dunk if you wanted to like jam Royals or whatever, especially if Bobby Witt's not in there. Here you go. Watched him start last week, was not familiar with his game. I felt the exact same way, man. I was not familiar with your game. It looked nice, man. He was like a top pitching prospect like 4 or 5 years ago. And then now he's been hurt for on and off for like 3.5 of those, 4 of those. And now has finally made his way back. Our guy BJ Miller saying Paul DeYoung, great homer spot today along with Adams. Okay. I hear you. All right. Let's before we hop in and rank it all out and that sort of thing. I'm getting intrigued by some of the stuff you guys are saying in the chat here with the pick'em stuff. Let me take a little peek-sees at these home runs here. What's going on here? Give this a refresh and see what happens. Something funny happened there for a half second. There we go. There we go. Check out some of these home runs. Let's check out some of those Brewers, as we were talking about. Kind of like the Brewers more than the field right now. Wow, Isaac Collins is only a 2.84. Yelich is a 2.81. Caleb Durbin getting a 4. You could do worse. I think he leads off today. Andrew Vaughn's getting that 209. That means, I mean, that just screams he's a good pick in our daily stuff. Joey Ortiz getting a 392. Probably hits at the bottom of that order. He honestly hasn't been the prize return that they were looking for. Yeah, probably hits 8th or 9th, I would say. I don't know what they do with, kind of like Lockridge, Jansen, Ortiz at the bottom, but you're getting a really nice price on it. So don't hate it. I like that shout from the chat. And then what did we say? Nationals spot? BJ said he likes Nationals. Let's see what Washington's doing. James Wood's getting a 3-2. I mean, it's just not a great park for home runs. Wow, Paul DeYoung's only getting a 2.87. I would take the Wood. I mean, that means he's draftable in our games. Let's say that. But like, I would take the James Wood price tag, even though James Wood hasn't been going nice recently. Let's take that James Wood price tag. Go ahead. I know it's not the best park in the world for home runs, but James Wood hits the ball hard enough and far enough to get it out of anywhere. Put that one in there. Junior Caminaro double dong. Sees on. Like that. Let's go to that last game on the slate there that we liked so much. I'll scroll all the way to the F down here. We talked about liking this game in a big, big way. Nick Paz is a 1.83. Caminaro double dong. So he's only a 181. Let's see what Morel's getting. Morel getting that 2.56 is playable. There is a little bit of pinch hit risk, but a little bit less so, just given the injuries and post-trade deadline. But there's definitely pinch hit risk with Morel. Maybe we'll take a look at Ballpark Pal too with some of their favorites there. I did put Isaac Collins on the cover here, guys. I might just have to mix in Collins. I mean, he's been hashtag hot for a while now. What about like Detroit? What about Kerry Bonds? What about Kerry Bonds? Ballpark Pal likes Kerry Bonds. Riley Green was on the cover on Friday. Was it Friday's show? Kerry Bonds carries some big pinch hit risk too. Did I miss it? They just don't have him listed? Okay. Little shook about Kerry Bonds. I mean, judging those other price tags, I'm not sure I'm going to love it anyways. See, like, I understand the thesis with like liking Keyshaw in general, but like home runs aren't really what Luke Keyshaw's about. Like he's a speed guy. Like he's a big, like he's like a little bit more pop version of like Chandler Simpson. Like he's a good fantasy play, I guess, but like he's not where I would go searching for home runs. I know he has a couple since then, but yeah, Dong, maybe not Dong. Yeah, Riley's heating up after I made him the cover boy, Yosh. I told you, man, you just got to trust the cover boys. Let them get hot. Let the cover boys get hot here. Okay, I like the Morel call in the chat. I liked the Joey Ortiz. It was the Trevor Larnach one. That was the, oh, shoot. There it was. Oh, no. There we go. There's a Trevor Larnach one at the 313. We liked it at the previous price point more. This has come down with his new lineup spot and the lineup being out, but we missed that window. So let's take that. That was the one we liked. There we go. Mike Trout Jr. Wow. Don't compare him to Chandler Simpson. Well, his profile seems a bit closer in terms of like the speed contribution. It is a bad comp, admittedly a bad comp. It was just a lazy speed analogy of like a 60 grade speed guy. Mike Trout Jr. Holy shit. My Twins fans are getting after it right now. Okay, let's tie a book on the ranking stuff. I haven't looked at Cardi yet, but I will after for your guys' sake. And we could see kind of like who his favorite targets are on the day. But let's do the pitchers. Let's rank them out. It's Crochet with a bullet. I actually think it's Evaldi over Yamamoto just because the Angels introduced a whole lot of variance in terms of the home run department. Freddie Peralta next. I like Logan Webb today. I know that the Ballpark Pals simulation suggested otherwise, but like I like him today. I do want to just confirm it is Peralta today, right? Oh. Okay. Don't draft Freddie Peralta. Big red X. Let's get that green check mark changed, guys. If you guys are watching and stuff. I did just get a little crossed up there because I like the Peralta spot, but everywhere I'm looking says Jose Quintana. Let's check another resource. Yeah, Jose Quintana, lefty. Okay, so that brings the Pirates a little bit into play, I guess. Lefties versus lefties there, but yeah, like Brian Reynolds doesn't look terrible. You know, if you want to do a little skinny 2-man stack of the righties, but I'm a Jose Quintana respecter, and he doesn't have the fly ball problem that he used to have. Okay, cool. Quintana pitching, thank you. All right, cool. Chat's all over it. That's cool. Peralta versus Skeens tomorrow. That'll be fun. Okay, so don't draft Peralta. If you did do the swap, or if you did draft him earlier before this projection and the green check mark was changed, go ahead and set your swap rankings. Make sure you swap off of that one. I know we're going to talk out of both sides of our mouth here, but this Will Warren, he seems okay from strikeout rate standpoint. Logan Webb, I would place ahead of Will Warren, though, even though the matchup's more desirable. This Will Warren, matchup now that you get Buxton leading off and that sort of thing looks a little bit worse. Yu Darvish has been pretty nice with it, and he gets a park that is worthy of chasing him in for pitching. Yu Darvish, you could do worse as a scroll the F down. I won't touch Quintana just because, professional ass left-handed pitcher, but lacks the ceiling to separate in these games. Like even when he hits a ceiling outcome like this 15 against Atlanta, when we actually did play a good amount of them that day, we talked about that. Still leaves a lot to be desired. I don't think there's any reason to play Cade or Soriano in the matchups in which they have, but I do, if there's guys I'm interested in watching today for what we could get the remainder of the season, it's can Zebby Matthews' strikeout rate be elite at the big league level? I want to see it again from Cade in the park that is hardest to get strikeouts in all of baseball. I want to see Jose Soriano get a whole bunch of ground balls and get some strikeouts against the Dodgers. Christian Javier, first start of the season there. He's making his big league debut. We know what he was, 3-4 years ago when he was like electric, and he was kind of like poor man's Hunter Brown 3 years ago. I'm not playing it today. I don't even know that he's going to be fully ramped up, but I won't touch it today, but it's a start I'm interested in seeing. So I think, and then the Chase Dollander we talked about earlier. So this Zebby, Cade, Soriano, Javier, and Dollander have my attention this evening, but I'm not going to play them. You could play them on Redacted. You don't have to play them on our site. That's how I'd rank it, guys. I rank it Crochet, Evaldi, Yamamoto, Webb, Warren, Darvish. That would be my 6 for this evening. Cardi ranks it Crochet, Evaldi, Yamamoto, Warren, Webb, Quintana, Soriano, Javier, Pepio, and Ryan Nelson, all like a fraction of fantasy points away from each other. So I think it is a pretty clear top three this evening, and ADP is correct in acknowledging that tier, and then you mix and match from there. Right on, right on. GM Randy rolling through. Zebby about to get knocked around? Absolutely. That's probably the most likely range of outcomes today, but I would like to see if he can get some swing and miss against a lineup that features some swing and miss in it. Granted, a whole bunch of lefties against him. Yeah, I'm just intrigued by that start. It is it's highly volatile, that's for sure. Just to summarize, guys, in terms of the stack department, I think it's just, Judge and Ohtani and the pitchers at the top is correct. And then ADP doesn't matter at all. You could choose your own adventure in a million different ways. I like Milwaukee today, as I alluded to. I think St. Louis is overpriced relative to their potential run total. I love the Athletics today. I love the Rays today. Bregman's making his return to Houston if you like Narrative Street. Yeah. Scroll the F down. Yankees to pair with Judge are free. Truly can go any which way you see fit. Let's hop in here and see what it looks like. And Walt saying the Stafford reports are getting more bearish by the day. Yeah, I was taking a look at that chamber he was hanging out in. Not great, Bob. Not great. A guy with I don't know, man. We've talked about it a couple times now on the shows that like we might just look back and be like, hey, 37-year-old dude with chronic back injuries over the course of his career has worn the flak jacket forever, and now he has, a bunch of, back issues leading up to the start of the season. Why the hell are we drafting him? Or we might be like, of course they were resting him. He's a 37-year-old veteran who doesn't need preseason reps. He doesn't need camp reps. It's all good. He'll figure it out on the fly with Devontae Adams, and he has a rich history of being the wide receiver maker. He's crazy underpriced. I don't know, man. I don't know. Remember the Baker Mayfield Rams game? Yes, of course. No, of course. That's basically what allowed him to get the big contract and stick around the next couple years, right? Yeah, anyone can plug and play with the Rams wide receivers. Yeah, I mean, Hayden talked about it on Wednesday's show there. If you guys want to go back in time and watch that one that was presented by Solver, that was a really good discourse just about like how if Jimmy G had stayed healthy, the outlier year with Shanahan in the same style of offense as McVay runs, he would have broken all sorts of records in terms of yards per play per attempt or yards per attempt per play and all this sort of stuff. He cites the stats better than I ever could. So go back and listen to that one. Yeah, non-zero chance that Jimmy G could be that guy and could be enough to carry that offense. Let's go take Judge here. I think it's a very clear top five today, and that is the top five in any order that you see fit. Shout out to Underdog for the new draft boards here, and also adding, as you guys can see, your guys' your feedback was heard. Overall pick number is back, and it's at the top of the draft board there in the top right-hand corner. Love to see it. Great amendment. All good. Okay, cool. So Aaron Judge goes there. We're seeing a little bit of a Milwaukee / Athletics start there from our guy Trackus. I think we take Junior Caminaro here. We don't have to stack him, but mixing in a Christopher Morel, scroll the F down with him, or a Yanni Diaz share would make a lot of sense. We could also mix in a Yankee stack here, or we could mix in a contrarian three-man to go alongside these two as one-offs. I think I'm definitely going to have a couple Angels stacks in my life today. Man, they can just hit the long ball. Respooked gets the full Dodgers stack there. The old school GM that everybody was chasing every single draft for the last 2 years and just hasn't mattered this year because Freddie Freeman doesn't hit home runs anymore and Mookie Betts doesn't hit anymore. Doesn't hit the ball hard anymore. That bat speed stuff. I don't know. Causation, correlation, if we want to go back in time and talk about the Mookie Betts bat speed being down in the early portion of the season and in spring. I don't know. There's something there. Vinny P goes there. Reminder, don't take Freddie Peralta. He's not pitching today. He's been moved to tomorrow. We could do some of this Milwaukee stuff that I like. But I think I'm going to leave that for our guy Trackus. Looks like he's setting that one up. Let's take Yandy Diaz here. Get that handedness advantage. These two are going to be paired together a lot because there's not an abundance of desirable Rays righties to pair anymore. So these two will be like combinatorial ownership will be quite high on these two. I'm going to go ahead and take Logan Webb here. I do think it is like a little bit of a tier break between Webb down to like the Warren, Cantana, Darvish tier. I'm a Webb respector and believer in that park, especially. Just a absolute ground ball monster, and the strikeout rate has come back in a big way this year. See what we got here. Best Ball Vipers setting up that Kansas City stack with all infielders. Those would probably be my three favorite as well. Soderstrom, Torkelson, and Kurtz there. I want to take a look at Detroit here for a half second because I knew Wenzel Perez had the Q tag. Not ready to start. He had a foot thing. Fouled the ball off his foot on Saturday. Okay, so just keep an eye on the Detroit lineup. I don't know why Kerry Carpenter, a.k.a. Kerry Bonds, isn't up in the pick'em lobby just yet. Maybe they're just waiting for a lineup there and whether there's an opener or not. That's something we didn't talk about was with the White Sox today is they're probably going to run like a piggyback situation, and one's going to be right-handed and one's going to be left-handed. And if Alexander starts, I don't think Kerry Bonds will start. So, yeah, just be mindful of that one. Riley Green goes there. Kerry Carpenter goes there. Luke Keyshaw goes there. I think we're probably just going to do like a Yankees two-man backstack here. Seems like the cleanest. Like a Bellinger and Jazz. Something like that. And we just try and attack Zebby Matthews a little bit. We could also do like a cheeky one-off of Byron Buxton because he's going to be under-owned with the Q tag relative to that. Fuck. Let's get contrarian here. These pairings are going to exist a lot. Let's take the Belly because he's going to hit lower in the order than Grisham's going to. Grisham's going to lead off. And the reason I want the one who's lower in the order is because I'm going to take another left-handed bat, another left-handed power bat lower in the order that could then correlate with them. So I think like Judge, Belly, and Rice go better than like maybe Grisham would go with that grouping. Or if you want to take McMahon, like McMahon might hit 6th or 7th and pair better with Belly. So let's go ahead and take Ryan McMahon. Always been a Ryan McMahon guy. Love him in that ballpark, just in general. And there's your contrarian left-handed leverage in the stack when everybody else is doing, you know, Jazz and Rice and Trent Grisham. We just get one contrarian piece to make this lineup unique with 4 other guys who are going to be drafted almost every single draft. Logan Webb, Junior Caminaro, Yandy Diaz, Ryan McMahon, Aaron Judge, and Cody Bellinger. Fun team there. Let's rip one more of those. See if we can cook up a little something more adventurous. Cade's throwing 6 scoreless, 9 Ks today. I'd take it. I would take that. Muncie double dong day. Grisham always scores points when I don't play him. Welcome to the club, bro. That's where I'm at. I'm catching up, guys, on you guys in the chat here. Yeah, it seems like you guys were kind of in lockstep with my take earlier on like the on like some of the exposure stuff that we were talking about and what we were looking at. And just kind of like telling it like it is. I do like, yeah, No Bo Sox has a couple good points in here. Easy's got a couple good points in here as well. Yeah. Like I'm really like, let's go take Evaldi. I said Evaldi would be my SP2 on the slate there. Let's take Evaldi and then let's see if we can get a little creative. Less friends and family in this. Oh no, just as many friends and family in this one, but just some different faces than the previous one. J-Witz is in here. Turbotron's in here. The Wood is in here. Speedmeister always up there in the leaderboards. Great baseball player. Yeah. Okay. I think this is like a good like bookend to it, and I'm gonna bring up Easy's point after this draft because well, I can probably squeeze it in. Okay, let's try and do some of the Milwaukee stuff we like and some of the Athletics stuff we like. I think it's more important to start with the Athletics that we like because I do want Nick Paz in this lineup, and I want Brent Rooker and I want William Contreras, but like I think I want Nick Kurtz the most out of that group, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the ADPs a little bit. I will take a look at the Cardi stuff for you guys as well. I did tell you his favorite pitchers. They were quite similar to mine. Okay, here's all you need to know. Here are Cardi's favorite hitters on the slate. Ohtani, Judge, Yandy Diaz, Bobby Witt Jr., Junior Caminero. So he is seeing the same thing I am seeing with some of those Rays righties that we literally just drafted. So that's pretty hilarious. Now whether it comes to fruition or not, or whether it ends up mattering, who the fuck knows, but we will try. Damn it. The Wood takes Isaac Collins from us. So I think we're going to go ahead and take Brent Rooker here. Maybe we're going to have to pivot off. Yeah, maybe we're going to pivot off of the Milwaukee stuff because I was going to do like Contreras, Collins, or I was going to do like Collins plus Vaughn, something like that. Jay Witt is doing the Rays onslaught thing here. As I alluded to, the Caminero and Diaz combinatorial ownership is going to be through the roof. Detroit seems okay. Let's scroll the F down to JJ Bleday. JJ Bleday has been good since he's come back from the minors. He's had a couple standout games. He gets the handedness advantage. We'll take that as a 3-man. And then we can do 2 one-off pick-to-clicks, or we can do a skinny stack of some variety. Trying to find some contrarian homers that I like that are kind of buried here. Spice it up for you guys. I mean, you could do like a little... I think I got an idea. Let me see. Let's see what comes back to us here. Wilson Contreras goes there. Muncie goes. Torkelson goes. I did say we could do Angels. Rengifo had a weekend, didn't he? I always spell his name wrong. Yeah, he had two back-to-back 2-homer games at Detroit there. Shea Bangliers goes there. Okay, I'm going to do the Buxton thing, and then I think I'm going to do a Minnesota stack. I'm not sure which twin I'm going to pick yet. Keyshaw's probably the most enjoyable. Like, he's the most fun one. Obviously had the walk-off homer. Cody Clemens is hitting second and going to be like completely unowned. Larnach, we did the pick 'em with. Royce Lewis loves hitting in Yankee Stadium, for what it's worth. Okay. While you guys watch this draft, I'm going to find out Cardi's favorite stacks for you. Cardi's stack projections. The Yankees, the Red Sox. That's surprising. Red Sox are. Never mind. My bad. Tigers, Yankees, Rays, Red Sox, Athletics, Cardinals, Dodgers, Royals, Rockies. Only about 5 fantasy points between all of them, separating them. Let's do Cody Clemens. I think the majority of people who do twin stuff are going to want to click Luke Keeshaw's name. I think there's a non-zero chance that Cody Clemens has more power than Keyshaw. So let's chase a home run and see what happens. Keyshaw definitely has the better, more exciting profile and more exciting home run. Or sorry, more exciting fantasy scoring, like point scoring ceiling. But yeah. A 1-2-3 Evaldi with Nick Paz, Brent Rooker, JJ Bleday. Nice little scrolly F down there. And then Byron Buxton, who's going to be underrepresented in terms of ownership right now. If I had to venture to guess, if there's like a swap and he becomes the option to swap in, he's probably like 86% drafted today, 82% drafted, unless you guys steam the hell out of him. And then Cody Clemens, who's going to be hitting second with the short porch today. So, I mean, nothing crazy, intelligently built team, not jumping up and down for it. Interesting to note that Cardi just does not like the Twins at all today. He likes Will Warren much more. That being said, I'm not sure if he's updated for Buxton being in or not. He's usually really fast at that sort of stuff. So presumably he has already. But yeah. Yeah, just to reiterate, his favorite stacks in terms of fantasy points relative to our scoring system, Tigers, Yankees, Rays are like very close. And then Red Sox and Athletics are next. And then it kind of drops off, Cards, Dodgers, Royals, Rockies, White Sox. So there you have it, guys. That was the baseball segment. That was a little bit of stacking dingers stuff. That was a couple drafts and a couple pick'ems for the baseball. And now I think we're probably just going to rip a couple Badge Bros Brawls and call it a day. But before doing so, I just wanted to kind of like double down on some of this. Easy saying that like drafting the same team over and over again makes no sense. If you're right, you don't need 100% versions of it. 2 to 5 is more than fine. You'll advance and you win you win teams 6 through 100 of the same version. Don't matter. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like the evergreen pepper the leaderboard conversation, right? Where it's like when you see someone playing densely exploitative, like, do you tip your cap to it or not? Right. So that's pretty good. Of high exposures, but I usually only draft guys I like. Would rather lose with the guys. Yeah, I mean, like here's T-Bear's alluding to the fun element of it, right? It's like, well, like, are you playing to like have 1,000 drafts and try and make a living doing this? Or are you trying to have 50 drafts and have all your favorite players and have a lot of fucking fun? Like those are the two separate conversations, right? So I definitely hear both sides of it. It wasn't to be preachy in any regard. So I like that. Shady was talking about this in DFS when he sees someone who sweeps a leaderboard, he laughs at how bad they played and it's just annoying. Yeah. I mean, our site's a little bit different than traditional salary cap DFS, where like scooping leaderboards in salary cap DFS is in a vacuum, like, haha, you played bad. On our site, it's a little different because even if you play like 100% exploitative on tonight's slate, and I did like, say I did like 50 lineups or whatever, it's more of just a risk tolerance exercise that I took Isaac Collins 25 times in my 30 lineup set, right? Because it's still under owned and it's still because every player can only be owned at like a 16.6% frequency in our game. They can't be 100% owned like they can be on like DraftKings or FanDuel, right? Ooh, redacted. So I hear the argument. It's a better argument for basketball than it is. Yeah. Interesting. Purple Yoshi, dumb question, but how much ground can Dinger teams realistically make up in a week? Huh. Let me think about it a little bit. I'd say anything. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you. I don't know. Do you have an onslaught stack that's playing at Coors that's a really good team? I don't know. It's because scoring in baseball, theoretically speaking, is uncapped. So it's different than like other sports, right? Because like if you get the Angels game at or the Angels weekend series at Coors from 2 years ago. This is deep diving deep in my bag right now. When they scored like 29 runs in like back-to-back games or whatever. Like, I don't know, you could probably catch up like 200 points, right? If you had like the Ohtani and Trout stack from that year. I don't know. Very interesting question. I don't have a good answer for you, Yosh. I don't have a good answer. Something I've never really thought about. Okay. First things first, hit the refresh here. We got to get a couple Badge Bros Brawls in here because it is last call for Badge Bros Brawl. Last call for Badge Bros Brawl. 98.6%. Entry number 91 for your boy. 4 spots left. As I alluded to earlier, Nez is done. Nez has done his 150. We can ask him all sorts of questions about it tomorrow. But yeah. Jack's asking a question that a lot of people have asked. It's his first year doing basketball. I'm assuming the scores are weekly and all players are reset today. That is correct, my friend. So after week 1, the lineup is locked. All the scores are saved. And now we add on week 2. So, in week 1, you could have had some stud who went 0 for 50 and didn't score for you, but is still going to score for you in week 2. And what's saying, if you have 2 decent pitchers with 2 start weeks, people above you don't, that could be like 90 points right there. Yeah, really well said. Really well said, dude. Yeah. The 2-start pitcher leverage is no joke in baseball. And it brings up a very interesting wrinkle to best ball that I've flirted on this program before, and I've flirted behind closed doors. Would you prefer baseball scoring next year to just be your 3 best starts in a week? Now, we might have to alter the scoring system to make pitchers worth more than. Watch me hit this drive first. We're at the 104. Badge Bros Brawl. I like to put an emphasis on the running backs here. Saquon feels great. But let's fuck around, find out, have some fun with Jahmyr Gibbs. Hopefully one of the running backs comes back to us. If not, we're going to end up with more Devon Achane in our lives. Jalen Wright didn't look great at the goal line there. That might be a reflection of the entirety of the offense this weekend, which is not great for my bags with Achane in general. But Alexander Madison got hurt and is done for the year. They're working out Jamal Williams right now. So we will see. I won't be too concerned. Jamal Williams couldn't find his way on to the field in a lowly. You know what I'm going to do here? I'll just leave it for now. It's all good. I got rankings in here from the weekend, and they were kind of like a hybrid. Henry goes there. I'm going to take HN here just to, maybe we can push some running backs past our guys, Miller Time and Goat Nap, but I doubt it. They're sharp. They're sharp, good players. So I'm going to go ahead and take 2 running backs to start here, and we will fill in the roster. But yeah, just to go back to this with the baseball staff, if you just took your highest scoring pitcher scores from a week, so a 2-start week wouldn't be added together. A 2-start week would just be 2 opportunities at hitting ceiling, which is still a slight advantage, which is awesome because we want that variance in the game. But it wouldn't be, hey, just only 2-start pitchers are the only pitchers that matter, and 2-start pitchers are just random, right? Which is kind of the anecdotal narrative right now. So just something to consider, something to think about. But, there's nothing wrong with randomness within these games. I kind of want to do running back again. Bowers went. I'm a little fuddy on Brian Thomas right now. Let's take Chase Brown, man. This Chase Brown rule is so effing legit. I think I kind of like Jonathan Taylor in a vacuum slightly better, but I was staring at these rankings and saw Chase Brown ahead and clicked him. So, damn, was hoping Trey McBride would make it back. My favorite lineups right now in the Badge Bros Brawl are like 2, 5, 9, 2. Something like that. I kind of like it right now. I've been going old school and just getting like tons of shots on goal for the playoffs. Jonathan Taylor or Bucky Irving? Bucky Irving. Let's take Bucky Irving. I think you could also make a case for elite quarterback here, but I'm going to lock up some running backs early here. All different bye weeks, all ceiling shooters. Bucky Irving, I don't know, you call it good news or bad news that Rachaad White got hurt this week, has a bit of a groin thing, not practicing today. I think on the surface, you would say it's good news, but I don't know. Sean Tucker coming into play in the last round of drafts right now. Something we talked about, 2 months ago, that even if anything ever happened to Bucky, Sean Tucker was going to be a guy you wanted to have some of anyways, a little sprinkle. Okay, let's go the elite quarterback route. I don't do a ton of just like pound the table elite quarterback teams, but I do view Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen as like a tier. It's those two. And then I view Jaden Daniels plus Hurts as the next tier. And then Burrow is only if I have Bengals. I got Chase Brown on this team, but I rarely do that stack. Goat Naps in here says his favorite contest on UD. Love it, bro. Appreciate that, man. Trying to merge the season long coupled with the daily drafts in a true scroll the F down Badge Bros fashion. I'm so happy it was so well received. I'm so happy to see it fill so early. Awesome. Yeah, pitch, this is a good take, man. Already so much randomness. If you can remove one extra variable, this is in reference to the 2-start week stuff. I agree with you. George Kittle goes there. All right. We could do a Tyreek Hill thing because we have Devon Achane. Also a big ADP gap. I'd like it. Let's do it. Our first wide receiver. I mean, look at this. We took 5 non-wide receivers, and our first wide receiver is still a second-round pick in BBM. Don't hate it. Don't love Tyreek Hill, but don't hate it from a construction standpoint. Tataroa McMillan and Chuba Hubbard for a little mini stack there. Both getting interesting news this weekend. Tataroa, obviously, first team offense, getting a bunch of targets, had a couple nice catches. I think it was like 46 yards or something like that. And then Chuba was kind of splitting snaps, which was interesting to see with Rico. So don't love that. Let's go ahead and take Xavier Worthy here. I'm getting scared on this Rams stuff. My Rams bags, admittedly, are primarily Kyron Williams based. But yeah. Ooh, dropped a touchdown. I did not see that. Jump Free telling me dropped a touchdown as well. Okay. Let's take Xavier Worthy. The ETR guys are really high. Travion Henderson goes there. I've been trying to scoop a lot of him in the Badge Rose Brawl as like my RB5. This team might not even need a fifth running back. I know it's tempting to take one just given the format, but we shall see. We shall see. Devontae Adams finally goes there. JSN and Garrett Wilson are staring us in the face. Probably not time to think about Laporte or whatever. I think JSN or Garrett Wilson is fine here. Garrett Wilson gives us a more preferable stacking out. So let's go ahead and take Garrett Wilson. Justin Fields looks pretty nice. Hayden was retweeting the Fields rushing touchdown there and said it was like a 200 IQ play by Isaiah Davis, like faking a catch. If you go back and watch the clip, he runs kind of like a little bit of a wheel route, but it's more like kind of like a little like into the flat, like a out and up. And he runs the out and up into the corner and pretends, and he drags the linebacker all the way with him because he's pretending that he's throwing his hands up early to catch a ball. Very, very sharp, fun play there. This is kind of like the territory of like you can just take whoever the F you want. I want to get a little more Devonta Smith in my life, so I'm just going to go ahead and take him. He feels like a pretty safe addition to this roster. I mean, all these picks are obviously good in here, but when we do a punt early wide receiver build, I do like a little bit of floor, especially when we have like these volatile profiles of like Worthy and Hill, like kind of more bang bust guys. Like a Devonta Smith feels like a professional ass wide receiver. Not to say he doesn't have a ceiling, but just feels a little safer. I think we're going to do some contrarian Josh Allen stacking here. I don't take a ton of Cortland Sutton, but he's a professional ass wide receiver on this team when we need professional ass wide receivers. 18 touchdowns in the last 2 years. Woo. Woo. Blake Love's going with the bang bust. Same, bro. Same, bro. Grow up, Blake. We're doing the bang bust profile out here. You guys want to hear a bang bust story from this weekend? We were playing actually is pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty badass. We were playing Nicholas North on Friday. And if you guys know anything about golf courses, it's a really nice one up in Whistler. Let's keep the bang bust theme going here. Let's take a big shot at Hunter. We got 146. Here, maybe I'll save the story for a half second when we hop in our next draft. I got to think this through. We got 11 picks down, 7 picks to go. This is a Josh Allen team with no stacking partners just yet. We got a little bit of a Bucks bet already. I think we want to like start taking some ceiling shots now. 2 big risers over the weekend here, or conceivable risers, are going to be Igbuka and Golden. The Jaden Reed in a walking boot stuff, coupled with, Leone jumping on the train of pumping the tires of two guys we were trying to keep as a secret. But these Ibuka coupled with the Godwin stuff, coupled with yeah, I don't know. Ibuka looked nice in the preseason with Kyle Trask there. And then the golden one with the read in the walking boot might just be the X wide receiver from day one. Damn it. Baker goes right in front of us. Was that the Evans drafter? Okay. I was trying to do a little cheeky Baker double there, but it's okay. Let's take golden here, and then we'll have to start addressing the onesie positions. A 1-4-8-0. Not something I experiment a ton with, but this is kind of fun. Fuck around, find out here. Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devin Achane, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving. Might be strong enough to stop at 5. Might just want to tack another one on. Tyreek Worthy, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, Cortland Sutton, Travis Hunter, Ibuka, and Golden. We could do a Love backstack. We could do a Jags backstack. We could do Bo Nix. We could do Justin Fields. Let's do Justin Fields. Let's get a little bit of that rushing fun in our lives here. Justin Fields, one of these guys that it's like snip, snap over the course of the summer. Oh my God, he died in practice. Oh my God, he's back again. Oh my God, he's a terrible passer and the offense is going to be bad. And oh my God, we saw one half of preseason action and he's an amazing fantasy producer like we expect him to be. It's classic. Classic fantasy football season. Prescott, that's fun for the CeeDee Lamb drafter. Love doing that in this contest. Godwin goes there. Fields. Okay, we got 4 picks left. I think we need some ceiling at tight end. I think it's Tyler Warren's season. Come on down. This is only going to be a 2 quarterback build. It's probably 3 tight end, but it doesn't have to be. But it's probably 3 tight end and then a luxury pick. And the luxury pick is probably a scroll the F down running back or a one-off wide receiver or scroll the F down stacked receiver. Like a Keon Coleman or something like this. Bryce saying he found Nez in his puppy draft. That's funny. I wonder if he's auto drafting that right now. Need me to come to Wisconsin. Lasonia is the course. 58th public course, ranked public course in the US. Nice. Okay. I want to get Kincaid on this team, but I also want multiple ceiling shots at tight end. So I'm going to take Loveland first and then hope the guys on the other side of the board don't want unstacked Kincaid because I know they would take Loveland and I know they need tight end. And hopefully we can get Loveland to stack. Nez looks good as a yellow box. There's our guy Nez down below there. Yeah, we never thought we would really do a ton of like solo one. I mean, obviously life and schedules, and we like to be consistent, man. I think if there's one thing I'm most proud about with like for a guy who's like never really ever had to have real jobs and only ever had to call himself accountable, I'm quite proud of our consistency in terms of like making sure there's content here on the daily. Yeah. Okay. So we get our wish there. Dalton Kincaid comes back. I don't think there's any reason to push it in case someone takes a third tight end because we're just taking a ceiling shot last pick here. I think maybe shutting down at 4 running backs and taking like Khalil Shakir or Keon Coleman could be a lot of fun on this roster. I also think a 5th running back that we kind of just luck box into being the starter could play very well as well, right? I mean, these hyper fragile lineups in this contest are like super peaks and valleys, right? Like there's no guarantee that week after week, all 4 of these running backs put up good usable scores. But if they all stay healthy, we could also break the contest with a team like this, right? So I don't do a ton of the 4 running back stuff just because it's so volatile. But when it goes right, it goes like way more right than any other like roster construction style. I think Travis Etienne is a fun double down, or we go with one of the Buffalo wide receivers. I've also been trying to do some Rashid Shaheed in here, but we go ahead and take a 5th running back there. It feels safer. I don't know if it's best in terms of like chasing EV, like just playing to win. I don't know if it's the best or not, but yeah. I'm pretty confident that 2 quarterback is best in this format, even if one's contrarian scroll down, just the way that quarterback scoring separates. But yeah, I'm proud of you too, and that's what matters. Oh, good stuff. Crash the Plane Egger says, well, I don't know. You guys be the judge here. A 2-5-8-3. Josh Allen, Justin Fields, Gibbs, Achane, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Travis Etienne, Tyreek, Worthy, Wilson, or Garrett Wilson. Saying Wilson just seems weird. Devonta Smith, Sutton, Hunter, Ibuka, Golden, Warren, Loveland, Kincaid. This team fucks. I did not crash the plane. This team fucks, man. Like if Tyreek Hill, Worthy, and Garrett Wilson can all return like 2nd round BBM style value in this contest, like this team fucks. Like the ceiling of this team is insane. No crazy overlaps in the buys, all spaced out. We didn't fall into any like dumb 17 bring back, same correlated ownership. We did do, a little bit of that Miami, Tampa, like 4 pieces from that. But that's kind of just evergreen with me. That's just like stylistically. I like this team. I don't know. I don't think I crashed the plane here. I like it. All right, let's hop into another one of those. I want to make sure I keep getting these in. There's going to be plenty of time for BBMs. Don't you worry. We're going to have multiple BBMs this week. I got to do at least 8 more of these before you sickos fill the contest to ensure that I get to that century benchmark. I said I wanted to max the contest. I tried my darndest. I'm not going to lie. But between the content and smelling the roses, your boy might only get to 100. But I got to make sure I give it my best effort the remainder of today to get to 100 here. What are we at right now? We're at 98.7. Okay. All right. Goat Naps in here again. Go Cards is in here. Trackus is in here. Ocho Brown and Spider, say what up if you're hanging out in the chat. Okay, so this Nicholas North course, it's nasty. It's like a little community, and Jack Nicklaus designed it. They have a super sweet patio and happy hour. It looks right over a lake. The course wraps around a lake, then goes under the highway and wraps around another neighborhood. It's very sweet, very sweet. If you guys get the opportunity to go Whistler, go play this place. And the true bosses, the G's, they fly in on float planes that land right beside like the 16th hole, and then they just roll in with their clubs. So cool, so cool. Anyways, that's a level of fuck you money I can't get to. CD Lamb, let's just do this for a uniqueness and different style start than the last time, and let's hope not all the running backs go, that some come back to us. So this place is nasty, right? The 16th hole is right in front of everybody sitting on the patio when they finish their round or for happy hour, right? And there is this, it's a dog leg left, and it's 410 yards from the tips. Like it's not It's not far, but you can't carry the stream. Okay. So there's a water that blocks it off to the front of the green, and it's about maybe a 280 landing zone to carry the bunker, cut the corner, and land at the front of the stream, right? And then you get to play wedge in kind of deal. But if you just play to the left and you're in line with the bunker, you're like 140 out, 150 out, and it's like a pretty simple hole. Let's do neighbors here. It's like a pretty simple hole where you just go like a hybrid or 3-wood and then just play like 8-iron back in. Well, I was losing the skins game by a considerable margin. I was down, let's call it 7 buy-ins. And wow, this Puka FUD is real. I think we got to address the running back position though. Let's do Genty. Genty is a bit of a tear break, like just like mentally, even though it didn't look great in his debut. I mean, you give a guy a pass. Okay. Anyways, so I'm last to tee off because I've been, bad the last couple holes and haven't won any skins. And everybody plays to the left, right? We got a couple balls, fairway, rough, kind of around the bunker. Everybody's got like 150 in. So I am lined up with the whole patio watching, and I line up aimed at the houses, and there's houses and trees and a window that's like about this big to like cut the corner to then get over and land. And everybody's like, holy shit, is he actually going to try this? Like, is this guy actually a stick? Like, is he good? So I press on the hole. So if you guys aren't golf guys, I'm down like 6 or 7 skins and I press, which means I double all of it if I lose the hole. And I just know that this is the last hole on the course that is like a good opportunity for me to get it back because there's another short par 3 after and whatever. Anyways, this is a longer story than intended to be. But when we play to press, you have to pay out every skin that you lose by via strokes too. So I'm effectively wagering 14 skins on the hole. And if some guy birdies it and I get like a double, I have to pay the net difference as well. So it's a truly sicko, degenerate game and insane to even consider. Let's not waive the elite quarterback stuff this time because we did it last. Well, we could still do it. Let's take Jacobs because he's a little bit of a tear break. And then we'll go from there. We'll see what Trackers does here, and then we'll go from there. Anyways, so I line this shit up. I hit a tree, and then it hits the top of one of the house's roofs, and I lose the hole by like 5 strokes. Like, because we play like legit penalties and stuff like that when I did this. Oh man, dude. I lost like 20-something skins in a 18-hole round. So crazy. So bad. So dumb. But it was, I went for glory and my face was beet red after going for glory in front of a deck full of golfers with 100-something people on it. It was tough. It was a tough scene for your boy, but I had to share it. I wish I had a sweeter story. Oh, man. Okay, we are 5 rounds through. Very different than last time. CeeDee Lamb, Neighbors, Genty, Jacobs, T. Higgins. Kyron goes there. I think I want to double tap running back here. Because I don't think... Trackus might take double tight end. I don't know. I think Kittle is like the most important to our roster. I guess we could take Brees. I don't take a ton of Brees, like just in general. But theoretically speaking, like the gap from like Brees to Ken Walker feels a little steep. So maybe I should have taken Brees first, knowing that Trackus won't do double tight end. Tetaroa getting pulled up there. Okay, so we get the Kittle one there. I think we got to do running back here, even though the rankings like wide receiver. We could also do Jaden. Nah. Let's do Ken Walker here. I like Ken Walker a little bit more than I like James Cook. That's just me, though. I appreciate you guys respecting it. Our guy, absolutely brutal. Yeah, it was bad. I really thought that story was going to end. Honestly, Emwald, if that story ended with me winning all the skins and celebrating in front of the people, I honestly probably wouldn't have shared it. It's a way funnier story this way. Oh, it was bad. I think when it was all said and done, I think the damage was 19 skins. So, yeah, because we do mix in the KPs and stuff there too. So, I did get, I think I got 18. I got like a set of skins back, but that was it. James Cook, kind of a tear break in my mind after Travion goes there. Don't love Chuba as much as the field does. I think James Cook here feels fine, even though I said I liked Ken Walker more. Now we get both of them. Joe Burrow goes there. Maybe I should have done the Burrow to Higgins thing, but it's okay. Might be a 3 quarterback roster. I'm going to set up the Dallas double with George Pickens. I don't do a ton of the double stack variety in this contest. But yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Respook saying just started 0402 through the 6 rounds. I think it's fun. Yeah, it's a much better story when I lose. You're right, Nick. Played a nice game of Wolf yesterday. Unfortunately, my buddy shot a career low. Hate to see it, man. Hate to see it. I have not been playing well. I cannot wait for these irons to come. But I've played some really nice golf courses the last 2 weeks there, just because we've been away on vacation and stuff like that. We played Sandpiper, the Falls, Nicholas North, and Whistler, and all 4 of those they're very different, but like very cool. And of the 4, my best round was like 86, I think. Some of them are a little gimmicky. Like the Falls is pretty gimmicky, and I shot 90. And it was, I had 3 eagle opportunities and came away with 1 birdie. Like it was just terrible. I just couldn't figure the place out and played so poorly. But yeah, realistically, yeah, let's go ahead and take Devonta Smith here. Let's do it again. I do feel I'm really noticing if you have the ETR ranks in, they really like Smith. So maybe I got to get a little more exposure to it. Yeah, realistically, guys, I'm probably like I don't know. I'm probably like a 15 right now. Everything's relative to where you play. Let's do Kamara. I never take Kamara for whatever reason. I think I just got so scared about the back-weighted production stuff and about the offense in general that I just never click his name. But once we take him, we could put like Olave or Shaheed on here to make like a team correlated bet. This team needs Dak. This team probably will wind up with a naked quarterback on it. I don't know. 11 rounds, a 5-5-1. Genty, Jacobs, Walker, Cook, Kamara, CD, Neighbors, T. Higgins, Pickens, Devonta Smith, George Kittle. I much prefer the previous team. Much prefer it. $83 for my guy Jump Free last weekend. Felt pretty good. Love it, dude. $83 is legit. I mean, it's all relative to where you play, right? Like, if you play somewhere that's like a local public course that's like 6,500 and it's like super furry greens and that sort of thing, like, yeah, 83, sure. But like, if you're playing at like, the courses that were previously mentioned and the one that was dropped in the chat before, like, yeah, now we're talking. I just don't practice. That's my biggest thing. Okay, I think we got to take Dak because our team's dead without Dak, even though I don't think anyone's going to take Dak without these. But, like, what's the difference in this tier and Dak? I think it's going to be a 3-quarterback team. But, yeah. Greens were sanded, so I was sending missiles at the pin. Love it. Love it. Little bit of a cheat code there. Paid went for a 41 on the front, and then Beers on the back got him to 50. 50 on the back. Love to see it. Gets the best of us, man. Honestly, if I didn't have the Beers on the back in the Skins game, I wouldn't have tried to cut those trees. Giveth and taketh. Let's start scrolling. Let's start having some fun. Let's take Rashid Shaheed along here. Let's do, dude, I really want to get some more like Warren in my life, but he's already gone in this one. That's unfortunate. I do want to get like more Warren. I thought the preseason usage looked really encouraging. Everything I read, everything I saw. I got to go back and watch you know, some of the games, or at least watch some of the condensed versions of the games from this weekend. Let's take Andrews and shut it down. I do think there's a significant enough tier break, and it is probably a misnomer that in my mind I think of like Loveland being like the ceiling guy, but I don't think of Andrews being the ceiling guy. Like Andrews could surely be a ceiling guy. Obviously, like everyone's going to tell you positive or negative regression for the touchdown scoring this year. But what's to say that, you know, Lamar Jackson can't play MVP level again this year, right? Okay, 1-5-7-2, which means we have 3 spots left. Ooh, Ramondre Stevenson and Trey Benson going in this one. Boys are getting cheeky. Kids are showing off. Okay. I respect it. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson is probably pretty strong leverage in this contest because Travion goes every single time, and Ramondre probably goes like at an 18% frequency would be my guess, if that. Sampson, woo! Cards is showing off, man. Scrolling all over the place. I think Drake May wants to be on this team. We set it up with that Stephon Diggs a little bit there. It is going to be 3-quarterback. Maybe I should take Purdy first. I don't think Trackus is going to take a third, though, so it doesn't really matter. And I did want to get like a little funky with it. Yeah, I think Purdy should go now because if I don't take Purdy, it's kind of like nothing really makes sense because we got the Kittle stack, right? If we don't take Purdy, it's going to be like a naked JJ or a naked. Yeah, just the roster makes a lot more sense when you take Purdy with Kittle there. And now we got one final pick. I think we're good at. It is a little bit of a luxury pick here. I'm not going to lie. We're done at quarterback, obviously. Dak, Drake May, Brock Purdy. Little scrolly, but nothing crazy. Genty, Jacobs, Walker, Cook, Alvin Kamara. Lamb, Neighbors, Higgins, Pickens, Devonta, Diggs, Shaheed, Kittle, and Andrews. The oldest wide receiver, or the oldest tight end room possible. I guess we could add in Kelsey to that, and it would get even older. But, yeah, I don't know. Ingram, Pittman. I don't know, guys. What do you think this team needs? I guess wide receiver, but we took Lamb, Neighbors, T. I guess it's wide receiver. I don't know, man. Joe Mixon's just sitting here. I think I got to take Joe Mixon. Like, who's more likely to crack my lineup in week 14? Or let's pretend it's a playoff week. Week 15, who's more likely to crack my lineup here? Joe Mixon, who has to outscore Genty, Jacobs, Walker, Cook, or Kamara, right? Seems super, super feasible. Or Jaden Reed in a walking boot, Jordan Addison, who's going to miss the first 3 games, Godwin, we don't know how long he's going to be out. Michael Pittman, like, is Michael Pittman more likely in week 15 to outscore CeeDee Lamb, Neighbors, Higgins, Devonta, or is Joe Mixon more likely to outscore Genty, Jacobs, Walker, Cook? I think it's the Joe Mixon one, like, without a doubt. Okay. I just talked myself into saying it was decent. Juice McCaffrey saying tight end. Yeah, tight end would have been smart too, I think. Like, it's tight end is definitely like the condom, you know? You go like, okay, Kittle is a spike week guy, but not that much like floor necessarily. Andrews, negative touchdown regression candidate. Why don't we just take like a spiky tight end? And that would probably be Evan Ingram. Or we could have triple stacked with Jake Ferguson. Yeah, maybe who has more scoreable weeks for us? Evan Ingram versus Kittle versus Andrews, or Joe Mixon versus our running back room? Tough call. Tough call. Addison for leverage on the Jetta teams. Seems good. Yeah, or Juwan Jennings with Purdy. Yeah, we could have doubled down on the Purdy. Yeah. PJ Miller always starts his rounds off with a shotgun. What a fucking beauty. What a shotgun. What a beauty. Tried mixing in this Badge Rose Brawl, was waiting on running back, and then a bunch of different shots on guys. Okay. I see you, pitch. I see you. Okay. Fun drafts, guys. Fun drafts. Yeah. Yeah, looking at the Trackus team, waiting on running back, gets the Breece Hall fall. Connor, Pacheco, Montgomery, Pollard, Mason and Jones, and J.K. Dobbins. 8 running back build when he fully punts running back. Go Cards with a 2-6-8-2. 3 running back early, then pumps the brakes until the final rounds, and then takes 3 contrarian shots, 1 part of a monster Mahomes stack. Spider, super balanced through the first 5 rounds. Henderson pisses for a bit. Cam Ward as a contrarian stack with the Calvin Ridley. Chiga Konkwu, who played all of the first team snaps. He went really scrolling at the back end here. Ward, Benson, Okongwu, Thornton, and Richardson. Wow. That's your scroll the F down. Ocho Brown was pretty balanced here. 3-5-8-2. 3 running backs early. Then goes pissing. Then addresses the tight end position with that little pocket of a floor-ceiling combo of the long-haired white guys in Hawkinson and Warren. And then 3 late quarterbacks all put together, 2 with some rushing upside. Tracy as a scroll the F down. Goat Nap goes with early quarterbacks, double elite quarterback, gets that Terry plus Jaden in the 7-8. Nice. Pisses early, then hammers some running backs, takes the golden ceiling shot, downs, and then 3 tight ends. 1 is a scroll the F down, stacking partner, and then Bateman as a contrarian Lamar Jackson stack. I've done that once or twice as well because Lamar, Andrews, and Flowers go and Henry go every single time. That little contrarian lever of like, what if Bateman just outscores Flowers this year? Right? Not bad. Holy smokes. Bryce saying Nez is out of control in this puppy. Horton at 160 as his wide receiver 4. We're all looking for the guy, man. We're all looking for the guy. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Oh, man. All right, guys. Let's call it a show right there. Roll the tape back if you guys missed it early. I did a little bit of a dinger thing, but it was more of an exposures soliloquy about macro best ball contest understandings. I thought that was pretty fun. Yeah, let's fill this Badge Bros Brawl, man. We're at about 99% right now. I got to do 7 more of them, I think, to get to 100. Yeah, we're at 98.7%. I got my work cut out for me. 7 more drafts this afternoon. Get up to 100. But Badge Bros Brawl is going to be closing, and then we'll start focusing on the other contests. We'll do some more BBMs on the show later this week. Nez is going to be back tomorrow, off and on the clock, 1:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow with Nez and Pete. Be a lot of fun there. Yes, we'll be mixing in some sprints there. Juice McCaffrey asking. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are truly sweaty and you guys are truly like EV hunting sickos, like the place you should be living right now is the marathon and the sprint. You know, even if you prefer to draft, you know, the puppy style contest, if you are EV hunting, it's the sprint and it's the marathon right now because there's a chance that there's some overlay, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying you got this. They take 10 minutes. Oh, man, I got to do it. I got to spend an hour and make sure I do it right now. Okay, guys, glad to be back after the weekend. Do me a favor, hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. If you're on the X side, do me a favor, please hop over to the YouTube side. Hit that subscribe bell, notification, all that stuff at Badge Bros on YouTube, at the Badge Bros on the X machine. We'll be back tomorrow, bringing you content for Underdog on the daily, as the banner suggests. Everybody's favorite time of the show. The end. Peace. Good luck tonight.